What's up guys, Seeger here from ProDC. Welcome to another ESO build video. So today I'm going to talk about the Magicka Sorcerer PVE DPS for the Horns of the Reach update. The reason I say I'm going to talk about is because, of course, I'm going to talk a lot, but I will talk a little bit more about the Sorc in general and like what the Sorc actually does since the Mohammed patch, because it's not as good anymore in DPS as it used to be. It took a while for people to realize that, but Sorc is more for buffing now and like AoE DPS and trash fights, because the AoE DPS is still pretty good. But yeah, Sorc DPS went down quite a bit. But anyway, of course, as always, I'm going to start with the stats first. So I'm currently sitting at wait, that's not right because I forgot to switch some skills. Sorry, I recorded the German video a couple minutes ago and I showed some stuff here. So these are my stats right now. So this is what I usually play. I play a light attack build. I have 50.8k Magicka. I will get to that value in a couple seconds again. Currently sitting at 49% spell crit chance. That is because I'm using precise weapons. I usually don't use that, but I also showed that as an option. So I usually run with this. It's an infused staff. So I'm sitting at 42% spell crit. And that is already buffed with Major Prophecy. So what we do get is an additional 3% because of my passives from Dark Magic. So when I use a Dark Magic ability, all my allies get a 3% spell crit buff for 20 seconds. And I'm sitting at around 2.5k spell damage unbuffed with about 780 recovery. I'm using the Apprentice Monostone. So I do not always recommend to go with Apprentice Monostone. Keep in mind your pet does not benefit from spell damage. However, all your other skills do. If your tanks don't want to run Arcoch, if you don't have a Stamina Templar in your group, and if your uptimes on the Crusher enchantment are relatively low, you might be better off with the Lover Mundstone. The Lover Mundstone will give you 4,196 or 92 penetration, which is a lot. So what you have to do is calculate all the penetration. Keep in mind on Magicka, on all Magicka classes, if you use infused staves, we have a base penetration of 100 on stamina 2, and then we have the passive of light armor, which gives us 4,884 penetration, which you can see here, concentration passive. So we have that. So we have around 5,000 penetration, base penetration, if you use 5 pieces of light armor. And then we have the debuff from our tanks, which is this one, Puncture. Afflicts Major Fracture and Major Breach if we choose the right morph, and this also reduces the spell penetration by 5,280. So we have about 10,200 penetration already here on the Sorc. So what you have to ask your group then: do we run Arcoch with a good uptime? Do we have Crusher enchantments? Do we have a Stamina Templar with Power of the Light for minor fracture, minor breach? And if these numbers all add up, you already have a lot of penetration. You just need like 1k, 2k penetration from champion points, and the Lover Mundstone is completely useless. Or almost completely useless. However, if you don't pick the Lover Mundstone, just go with the Apprentice. The thing is, I'm not sure who said that. Apparently it was some guy from Hodor who told players from us at G&G that there is basically a soft cap at 51,000 or 51,500 Magicka, around that value. So what does this actually mean? Basically, the more Magicka you have, the more damage you get. But like if you increase your Magicka by let's say 1,000 every time, you always get like around the same damage increase. If you reach the soft cap, you will get less damage increase if you go above that. I cannot confirm that because I don't have the formula right now to calculate damage with the base damage to actually see and then also test for myself if that's true. However, 50,800 is already a relatively high value, so there's no real point in going any higher than this. Yeah, spell crit kind of low, I know. For my buffed stats, it looks like this. So we're sitting at almost 3,000 spell damage and yeah, almost 890 magical recovery. And as you can see, spell crit is already buffed, so that doesn't go up. It's really low, but it's still it's not like that big of a deal. Here on the sword, we deal almost the same DPS as last patch, or yeah, basically around the same DPS. So yeah, that's it for stats. For my gear, I'm wearing pretty much what I wore the last 2 patches, except I just don't use an Inferno Staff anymore. Because Sorc, since the damage is relatively low, the Sorc's main purpose is to apply concussion. Then also because it's like a side effect of concussion is minor vulnerability to the enemy, and also the blockade of storms for off balance. So what do we do? I found that out like 2 patches ago. I don't know why. Maybe someone has an explanation like as to what the actual lightning damage of Alambris actually counts to, because you have certain chances to apply concussion if you deal shock damage. For example, shock weapon glyphs have a 20% chance per proc to apply concussion for 4 seconds. Then I think like AoE has like 5%, then AoE damage over time effects have like 3% or so, or is it 1%? I don't have the values right here right now, but they're relatively low. So like your liquid lightning, your blockade have a relatively low chance to actually apply concussion to the enemy. However, if you use shock glyphs on your weapons, the chance is 20% with each proc. On an infused weapon, you get the proc every couple seconds, so you have a really high chance to actually apply that status effect to your opponent. And what I also found out, if I took away Alambris, the shock damage from Alambris, my minor vulnerability, and then also of course my off balance uptime on my DPS test went down quite a bit, by about 30% if I was doing a solo test. So Alambris is really strong when it comes to buffing your group by applying minor vulnerability. And I also use shock damage enchant here on the infused weapon. So we have 4 Moon Dancer here, as we had last patch. All spell damage, infused weapon, infused lightning staff here, and the Maelstrom lightning staff on the back bar. I only have precise. The only other trait that I have is I think defending and decisive. So those are trash, so I go with precise. Neuronode or infused will be better. Precise is not that bad. What you can also do is go with 2 precise weapons, but then you don't have as much damage from your shock damage enchantment. But then you'd be sitting at above 50% 50% spell crit chance, which is also not that bad. So the DPS difference is relatively low. I think, however, infused is superior, or it will give you around the same damage, and you buff your group a little bit better. So if you want to go for maximum DPS, go with an infused weapon and put a flame damage enchantment here, because you have a really low chance with a light attack build to actually proc the flame meteor shower of Alambris, and that will also give you like about 1k more single target DPS. So I think it's like 1.2k single target if you have enough procs on the set bonus, and you will deal a little bit less damage with the flame damage enchant compared to the shock damage enchantment, but because of infused, you proc it often enough to get the Alambris set bonus here, which is really nice. And then of course, because we're on a pet, we have 5 Necropotents, and then we have all Divines to get the maximum out of the spell damage stone. We already have 50.8k Magicka, so there's no point in going with like infused on the big pieces. So that's one option. We had our Sorcs at G&G testing different setups. So there is one setup that Allcast recommended, which is Necropotent's Jewelry, 2 body pieces, and then 5 Julianos, 4 on the body, and 2 staves. Or you can go with 1 stave and maybe like a Nernhone or infused medicine staff on the back bar. It's up to you. He recommended a Nernhone Julianos staff on the back bar with the spell damage enchantment, and an infused Julianos staff on the front bar with the shock damage enchantment. And also he went with 1 piece Ice Heart. This is kind of like a flex spot. You can replace it with Elambris for more Magicka. You can replace it with Slime Craw because it also gives you crit, or Molokina for more spell damage. However, I think that the spell crit is a little bit better, and it's also what our Sorks during the test said, that Ice Heart is a tiny bit better. The thing is, these setups do basically the same damage, even though like Julianos has more crit chance. You don't deal like significantly more damage in trials. Our Sorks have tested it. They said they always compared the DPS, and it was almost really close, about the same number. If someone died, of course, it's a little bit differently, but usually almost the same number in every fight. So if you choose to go with Allcast setup, or if you choose to go with the old setup, it's completely up to you. Personally, I still recommend go with the shock damage enchantment for your group, but just talk about your group, check the uptimes on the buffs to see yeah, if you really need the extra shock damage enchantment, or if it's enough to let the healers run charged lightning stage with the shock damage enchantment on the front bar, or not. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the 2 options for gear that I personally recommend. Maybe you have some other suggestions. If you have, just tell me in the comment section. For skills, I'm gonna make this quickly. I won't explain it. If you want to see like a better explanation why I use what skill, you should have a look at my old build videos and my gameplay. Because it's the same rotation. I just use a light tech build because I don't personally like the heavy tech builds. I use Force Pulse, Crystal Fragments, Daedric Prey, Voltite Familiar on both bars because it's a toggle ability, Inner Light, and Shooting Star. And I have Blockade of Storms, Liquid Lightning, Mage's Wrath, Voltite Familiar because of toggle ability, and then my Hardened Ward and Thunderous Rage. So this is the bar setup for my light attack rotation, and what I do basically: Liquid Lightning, Blockade into bar swap, activate the pet on the front bar to get more Crystal Fragment procs, so I always activate it on the front bar, and then Daedric Prey, and then I just shoot Crystal Fragments or Force Pulse, depending on if fragments proc, until my Liquid Lightning reaches 2 seconds. That is, so after these 2 skills, you do about like 4 more actions, the last one into bar swap, so you don't lose too much time, and then you recast Liquid Lightning and Blockade again. Really simple. And in execute, you have to find out if the execute is long enough for a Daedric Prey to actually go off. So what you would do in execute is cast Liquid Lightning, Blockade of Storms, pet Prey, and go back to cast Mage's Wrath during execute. And if the execute is really short, just stay on the bar, cast Liquid Lightning, Blockade of Storms, activate the pet, and then go with your execute. So you have, it's very situational. That's pretty much it for the light attack build. For heavy attack build, I think the strongest one is the one that Flag recommended. So that's the one with the Scalding Rune. So what you have to do is slot this one here, like take out Force Pulse, get the Thunderous Rage on the front bar and replace it with Meteor. So you have a Destro ability on the front bar. Put this away. Put this one here. Get this maybe here. Get this away. This. Put your shield here, and then what you can do is do this. Or you can still replace the shield with Deadly Prey. It's up to you. Like how you wanna put the skills on the bar is up to you. Just make sure you have one dash throw ability on both bars. Really, really important. Maybe you also don't want to go with the execute, but as I said, like there's a soft cap for Magicka. Yeah, we're already sitting at above 51k, so there's like really no point in like putting inner light on the front bar. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for skills. Those are the options that you have. The CP distribution that I'm about to show you is for the light attack build, not for the heavy attack build. So we have 40 points into Warlord, 37 Arcanist, 75 Tenacity, 28 Tumbling, 40 Shadowboard. And the red we have 51 Ironclad, 12 Spell Shield, 49 Hardy, 49 Elemental Defender, 14 to Thick Skinned, 19 into Quick Recovery. We have 75 into Thaumaturge for the Exploiter passive, 40 to Mastered Arms, 43 Elemental Expert, 40 Elfborn, and 22 Spell Erosion. Ask your group, make the calculations if you actually need the 22 into Spell Erosion. But like you don't, remember you don't have a really like high uptime or like an uptime that's close to 90 or 100% for Alkosh or Crusher enchantments. So you might want to put some points into Spell Erosion, even though you have all the buff sets and stuff like that. Oh yeah, guys, before I forget it, if you need resources, just do your heavy attacks. Like at some points, what you want to do is like put down your Liquid Lightning, your Blockade, cast these two skills, and then do a heavy attack. Yeah, so what you do is basically one heavy attack, one Force Pulse, or if you're Fragment proc, one heavy attack with a Fragment into a boss swap, and then you recast the skill. That's what you do when you need resources. But your sustain is not too bad, so that you cannot actually play a light attack build. So basically, it would be like this. You'll put down your dots and cast this here, but he's dead too soon. I'm sorry. Do the light attack into a fragment and in the light attack, heavy attack, fragment, bar swap, and then recast everything again. Do that until you get to like 40-50% magic again, then you can do your light attack rotation. But don't start like too late when you're actually like below 10% Magicka. Don't start doing heavy attacks. Then try to always do your rotation. What's really the most important thing is your dots, your pet, and the curse. That's really important. So that's basically it for today, guys. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section. And if you don't want to miss any more ESO content, hit that subscribe button. And of course, hit the like button if you like the video. I hope to see you next time. So until then, bye bye.